friends, what's up? My name is Joss from squibblesreads and welcome to my April wrap-up and May TBR. A couple of updates first. I will be attending BEA and BookCon, which is in 9 days. I'm so super excited. I will be at the Bookturnet meetup. Monica from She Might Be Monica made a tweet about that and I will link that down below so you will have all the details. Also, one more housekeeping thing. I did just get a Snapchat for my bookish adventures and if you want to add me, my username is squibblesreads. So the month of April was crazy. I read a total of 17 books and a lot of those ratings ended up being 4 stars or above, which is a very, very good rating for me. I also hosted a Genreathon from April 10th to the 17th with Brittany, Kristen, and Lauren. I just wanted to say thank you again to everyone who participated. It was an amazing time. I made a Genreathon wrap-up video, and in that video, the books that I reviewed were Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys, which I read with Britt Reads, Missing Pieces by Heather Gudenkauf, Eleanor by Jason Gurley, The Husband's Secret by Leanne Moriarty, The Unfinished World, which is a short story collection by Amber Sparks, and The Weight of Feathers by Anne-Marie McLemore, which I read with Alexandria at the Books Buzz. If you are interested in seeing how I got along with those books, I will link my Genreathon wrap-up down below. Also, in my second Thrillers and More Thursday video, I reviewed Pretty Baby by Mary Kubica and The Girl in the Red Coat by Kate Hamer, which was a buddy read with Lauren, Brittany, and Elena, and I will also link that video down below. Moving on to the books that I'm going to review, I just finished Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. This is a new release and one of my most anticipated releases for the year. It's a sci-fi book about a girl named Rose who is casually riding her bike one day and suddenly falls into a giant metal hand in a massive hole in which the walls are paneled with these weird symbols. Flash forward 20 years and she is a physicist and she is still investigating the hand and the mystery around it and the symbols. Throughout the book we meet other people on the team, including a geneticist and a linguist, and the book is actually written in interview form with these people and their journal entries. I finished this book in 2 sittings. It was like candy. I could not put it down. And it was super fast paced. I ended up giving it 4 stars. Where it lost a little bit of steam was that it was very plot focused, so we didn't get a lot of like the lush description that I love of the setting. And also there was one character whose storyline only went up until 60% of the book for good reason, but there was no follow through about that after that, and I was left feeling a little bit unsatisfied, but overall extremely entertaining and I would definitely recommend it and will be continuing on in the series. The most thought-provoking read of the month would definitely have to be We Love You, Charlie Freeman by Caitlin Greenidge. It's about the Freeman family, a mom, a dad, and 2 daughters who have been uprooted from their diverse community to take part in an experiment in an all-white community at the Tony B Institute. They are isolated and experience ignorance and racial microaggressions on a daily basis, and there are also some glaring ethical issues with the experiment itself. There are also flashbacks to the year 1929 when the Tony B Institute was first getting started, and we get to see some of the horrible racial discrimination that African Americans experienced in the community back then. As you can probably tell, it was a very difficult read mentally and emotionally, but I did so much enjoy the intersectional issues that it brought up. So one of the dominant themes in this book is surrounding ASL, American Sign Language, and its evolution and its role in the experiment that's taking place. There is also discussion around anthropology, ethics, feminism, and family dynamics. It's similar to Shelter by Jung Yoon in that it is a very easy read, however it will keep you thinking for days on end about the intersectional issues. I loved it and I gave it 4.5 stars. Up next we have The Girl in 6E by A.R. Tor, which was my BookTube Recommends Pick of the Month for April, recommended to me by Chelsea at Chelsea Dolling Reads. I love this book. I read it in like 2 sittings. It's about a girl named Diana who lives a very reclusive life, but she makes money by doing live erotic cam shows on the internet. The reason why she's a recluse is that she has this instinctual primal urge to kill people, and she cannot interact with others because she fears acting out on this urge. There's also a thriller element of this book that appears around 40% through regarding one of her clients, and it adds a whole new dimension of suspense. There are very explicit, mature themes in this book surrounding sex and violence, so if you're not into that, I would skip it. However, I did not only find it an entertaining read, I also thought that it provided a lot of insight around sex positivity and the stigma around an alternative sexual lifestyle, and also the human psyche, and it dispels some myths that surround fetishes and paraphilias and also distinguishes between them by starting a lot of chapters with the definitions of these things. I ended up giving The Girl in 6E 4.5 stars. I also finished up The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater. the second book in the Raven Cycle series. I did not like this one as much as the first one because it focused a lot on Ronan, who is not my favorite Raven boy. Also, Blue and the sassy psychic ladies appeared more to be like secondary characters, especially in the first half of the book. However, I didn't take any points off of my rating for this because this was Maggie Stiefvater's intention, which a lot of people have told me, and I thought that it was done well. What I did knock a little bit off for was that one of the villainous characters that was introduced in this book seemed more one-dimensional than the villainous character in the first book, so I ended up giving it 4 stars. And the next book was a buddy read with Elena, and we read the massive The Crow Girl by Eric Axel Sund. It was originally published in Sweden as a series of 3 books, but in the States is being released in June as a huge bind-up of 800 pages. From the blurb, this book appears to be surrounding the case of some young immigrant boys who are turning up murdered, and the lead investigator is Jeanette Kilburg. However, it is so much more than that. We also meet people like Jeanette's family, the other investigators on the case, a prosecutor, a lawyer, Sophia's clients, and so many more. It is not so much your typical thriller like Gone Girl or The Girl on the Train, which has one massive twist, because I don't even know how that would happen in an 800-page book, but rather it is a lot of sudden drops, a lot of twists and turns, and I very much enjoyed it. A lot of pretty extreme things happen, and some people might argue that these are unbelievable. However, I thought that they did a really good job with it, because what happened was that they provided a lot of scientific evidence around people's actions and also information about the criteria and symptoms surrounding the associated mental health diagnoses. They did this in a smart and seamless way in that they interweaved it into the storyline in a way that did not seem extremely didactic or glaring. I ended up giving this 4.25 stars. The next book that I finished was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I read this with Sarah from Books for Tea. I adored this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It centers around this duel between a girl named Celia and a boy named Marco, but a lot of the mystery of the book is the build-up around what the duel will entail and when it will be. What stood out for me was that the writing evoked all 5 senses, not just sights and sounds. You could literally experience the circus for yourself through the writing. Again, I adore this and gave it 5 stars. I also read My Name is Lucy Barton by Elizabeth Strout. It is a very small book, around 200 pages, and it is literary fiction. It's about Lucy Barton, who's originally from a small town in Illinois but has relocated to New York. She's recovering from a terrible infection that she got after what should have been a simple operation, and her mom flies out to come and join her. Together, they go through some of the memories and experiences that Lucy had back in her small town. Some of the themes include, obviously, a mother-daughter relationship and leaving a small town for a big city. Strout also attempted at some existential discussion. However, I don't think this was fleshed out very well and didn't really get to the meat of it. I think it would have been a lot better had it been like 50 pages longer, so they could have gone more into depth about those things. Overall, I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars. Up next, we have another thriller. It's called I Let You Go by Claire McIntosh. It's gotten a ton of buzz in the UK, but it is being released in the US tomorrow. It surrounds the story of a tragic hit-and-run incident which killed a little boy. We also follow the story of Jenna Gray, who is overcome by her grief and trauma surrounding this accident, and she goes off to a small Welsh town to try and rebuild her life. It totally took me by surprise because from that blurb I didn't think that it was going to be anything special. However, it incorporated both the creepiness of You by Caroline Kepnes and also the compassionate raw anguish of What She Knew by Gillian Macmillan, and those are some strong words and high praises, but it totally lives up to that. I gave it 4.5 stars. Finally, my favorite book of the month was absolutely Jane Steele by Lindsay Fay. I did do a full review of this and I will link it down below, so I won't talk about it very much here. But basically, it's got some loose connections with Jane Eyre, but Jane Steele is a vigilante. She kills people who have committed violent crimes. It's written in a style similar to Charlotte Bronte and also includes a diverse cast of characters. I adored it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Moving on to my May TBR. As you guys know, I will be doing a lot of traveling, so not entirely sure how much reading I'm going to get done, but right now I am in the middle of The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins. It is a buddy read with Taylor from Leatherbound. It is basically your OG classic mystery novel. Then my booktube recommends pick of the month is Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng, which was recommended to me by Elena. It's about a girl named Lydia, and her body shows up in the lake one day in small town Ohio in the 1970s. Lydia's family, the Lees, is Chinese American American, and I'm very, very excited about this because I think it will also involve a ton of intersectional issues with a basis of crime, both of which I love. So that is it for this video. If any of you guys are going to BEA or BookCon, I will see you there. If you guys have any comments, questions, or anything else, please leave it down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!